After last week's fun foray into The Crow, we're back this time, like I promised, to discuss The Crow sequel, starting with The Crow City of Angels. This was directed by Tim Pope and written by David S. Goyer, once again based upon the works of James O'Barr, but much more loosely. It stars Vincent Perez, Vincent Perez, one of those is correct, I'm sure, Mia Kirshner, Richard Brooks, Iggy Pop, Ian Dury, Thomas Jane appears, which I'd completely forgotten about, and it is, sadly, the last film of Tweet Tron, and I will talk more about that later. And again, apologies for pronunciation on that one. But I went into this with low expectations, especially after last week, and I think I got more enjoyment out of it because of that. I've said that so much on this channel. If I go into something with little hope that it's going to be good, I get a much better time out of it. But it's still not great. The original script, apparently, was a lot better, and that is what the novelisation was based upon. Tim Pope was a music video director before all of this, and we've seen music video directors, have really good career in film, David Fincher being one very notable example. They can bring something very fresh to the genre, but Tim Pope never really worked in film again. The changes to the original script, the changes to his vision, as well as Goyer's words, of course, was so great that, he never wanted to do this, ever again. There was apparently a re-release some time ago that was called The Director's Cut, and he hates Miramax for that. They went at this with a machete to try and make it more like its predecessor. They went for the studio route of, the last one worked, so let's just do that again. And unfortunately, for something like this, where doing exactly the same again feels like a slap to the face for Brandon Lee and everyone else involved, it's a really bad move on their part. In a strange turn of events, people over the years have created fan edits based on deleted scenes and animatics and tried to piece it together using the novelisation as inspiration to make something more in line with how it should have originally been. And most directors don't like fan edits. They think, it's a case of, well, I put this out there, so why are you trying to think that you know better? But Tim Pope has actually publicly said a specific version he is happier at than anything Miramax have produced and sent out. It is so unusual for a director to do this that I tried to find a version before recording this. Unfortunately, there's a couple of versions on YouTube that might be okay, but I didn't want to delay this too much because of everything else going on, and I'm trying to find a proper version if I can, so I can maybe do a comparison down the line at some point. But I do really want to see the differences and see if that flows much better. Because there are a lot of actors here who I know and respect from other works, and I think with what they were given, they've done a fairly good job. I do think that we were harsh to Iggy Pop last time. I don't think his performance is actually as bad as either of us remembered. I think, again, he's been hampered in the cut, and maybe some of the things that flowed better originally have just been pieced together in a weird way. But I felt his performance is one of the better ones I've seen of him. Now, yes, a lot of the stuff he's done is terrible, so maybe it's the comparison to what's really bad that makes him seem better in this. But Thomas Jane, who can play very strange characters, I think was a perfect fit for Nemo. And as a weird little sidebar, when I was watching this time, the nudie booth scene, if you will, made me suddenly remember Blade 2, and then realised that David S. Goyer wrote both of those. Can someone check on him? Did he have a bad experience in, well, hopefully not childhood, but at least early adulthood in a nudie booth? Because two scenes, two separate films where something bad happens in one is, I think we need to keep an eye. But there's a lot here that, definitely could have been better. I think Sarah's move to LA could have been explained better. I mean, yes, hard memories from Detroit, etc., fine, but why move somewhere like this that's clearly not much better for her? It's still a struggling place with very similar issues. So why is she there? Is it literally to kind of fulfill a Skull Cowboy kind of role? Because of him being cut from the original, they couldn't use Michael Berryman in this because it wouldn't make sense not having that before. So having a character who has experienced something with the Crow previously to help Ash, maybe that's it. But it's very much shoehorned. You could have done it without it, it would have been fine. It's to try and keep a connective tissue, and I think the change in the character is, I know people change with age, but I don't know this much. But I do appreciate Mia Kirshner and her performance in this. I think she was fine. It was, again, what she had to do and maybe how it was cut together. I found that the piece at the end with the posing like the painting, I thought was beautiful. But then again, the edit ruins it by showing us the painting that we've seen multiple times. It was in my head already. I was like, oh, yes, this is exactly like the painting. And then it did that dissolve into it. I was like, yes, we get it. We know I'm not stupid. And that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with how this version of the film has been butchered, has been put together. They don't trust the audience to go on something new. They don't trust the audience to piece the story together. They don't trust the audience at all. I am totally fine with Tim Pope basically disowning this film. Amongst others, Goya as well, I believe, has disowned it. A lot of people have said this is not what it should have been. This is not what we were making. This is literally what was put out there. So I would say, if you are interested in watching, say you've only seen the first one and you're interested in watching some of the others in preparation for the remake and things like that, give this one a miss. Hunt down the fan edit version. I'd already seen this years ago, so for me it's not as bad. I'm just reminding myself. But seriously, find the fan edit. If I can find the version somewhere, I'll hopefully put a link somewhere, either in a pinned comment or description, and you can see what should have been, or at least much closer to that. Now, I do want to end on what I was saying before about Tweet Around, this being her last film. On the 3rd of September 2001, alongside other people, she was in a car accident and did not survive. There are details that I found out through researching that I'm not going to say here. It's upset me and I don't want to pass that on to anyone else. So don't look it up. Just know that this was her legacy film. I believe James and I last week talked about the whole idea of cursed films, and The Crow being one of them. A lot of bad things happened outside of the big one with Brandon. But maybe the whole series is cursed, who knows. But this is her legacy, and I will end on one more positive. Graham Revell returned to do the score once more, and there is a particular piece that just almost redeemed this film entirely for me. In Lament for a Lost Son, echoes of some of the music from the first one came back, and I just got a smile on my face and a little warmth, but then I realised that those were Eric's themes. They're not the Crow's themes, those are Eric's themes, and once again, I'm not sure if that's an issue for Graham Revell or editing when they're putting it together. I'm going to assume it's the latter. But having that musical consistency really did help this. But like I say, skip it, do not watch any of the others, find the fan edit if you really have to, and please join me next time when I talk about probably the other two in one, because I don't think there's enough for a video each, and I've got something really special for the end of this month. So I hope you'll join me for all of that, but until next time, as always, thank you for watching, take care, and remember, pain is my power.